Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a lovely and broadly appealing Chopard Alpine Eagle 41. I love this series, and from the time it came out in 2019, I thought it was the best kept secret in the integrated bracelet sports watch category, but up to this point, I have never seen it in the combination of red gold with blue dial. Until now. This watch, 41 millimeters in diameter, is 9.8 millimeters thick, under 10 millimeters, is always awesome on a sports watch. And two different ways to measure it. If we're just measuring lug-to-lug across the case is 47.2 millimeters. But you can see that the bracelet has this sort of rigid outcropping to it. I'm pushing in, I can't compress it anymore. So the distance from here to here, the total distance across the wrist, is 54 millimeters. Don't let that scare you away though. My wrist is kind of small, only 16 centimeters in circumference, and I wear this well. It's very comfortable. I could actually recommend it for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. You can see that the bracelet wraps nicely around the edge of my wrist. From over the top, there's no issues with outcropping or overhang. And in profile, being as thin as it is with a ramped case flank, it'll easily slide underneath a sleeve. The bracelet is beautiful, both in the way it's built and the way it's finished. You really don't get any sense of compromise versus something like a Patek Aquanaut or Nautilus. Vertical satination and profile, we have a bevel that extends the bevel of the case flank all the way down the links. We have a raised and polished center, a center spline if you will, and then we have faceted satinated primary links outboard of that. Really nice detail. Take a look at the way these pieces are countersunk into each other. There's less lateral play in this bracelet than any other I've ever experienced. The integrity is unbelievable, but so is the weight. It feels hefty, almost as though this were platinum rather than gold. And you can see on the underside that every single link is removable, so you're going to get the right fit. Every link is removable. And you just look at that countersink where there's sort of a joining link in between each primary link. There's sort of a bonding link that allows a degree of flexibility. Just incredibly manufactured. We have a double deployment clasp, and you can see here the clasp is made of white gold because white gold is a mechanically superior grade of gold. It's harder than red, which means it's less likely to deform. So for these small, functional, hinged components, this snap-shut clasp internally is made of white gold. Rolling around to the case. The design of the watch is based on the 1980 Chopard St. Moritz, which was designed by Carl Friedrich Schäufele, then a relatively fresh-faced governor of the company. It was the first watch designed under his oversight, and it was very much of its time, and that was the tail end of the 1970s to early 80s integrated bracelet watch, I would say, boom. And the boom has turned into a modern boomlet as echoes of that era have reverberated in our own time. This is a very cool type of watch today, and compared to something like a full gold AP Royal Oak Nautilus or even Vacheron Overseas, this represents outstanding value. You can see that the case is fairly complex. It's balanced side to side with the winglets at the 9 o'clock side balancing out the crown guards. We do have a screw down crown here with a combination of polish and media blasting. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. You can see there's a little nautical compass rose there. The case flanks feature a lovely vertical satination that I'm totally digging. And you can see within the little winglets we have that vertical satination. We also have a bevel that expands from the mid case out over the lug hoods. And then the bezel sits on a little plinth underneath. The bezel is satinated and vertical outboard, and then has a very narrow, sloped, and polished facet before giving way to a vertically satinated top. You can see little bolts are used to fix this all in place, and they're polished. And then we have a chapter ring outboard against which you can read your seconds and minutes with that spectacular spiral textured Alpine Eagle dial designed to look like the iris of an eagle. And well, frankly, even without the imagery, it's lovely. It is incredible. This is not some sort of shallow brushed sunburst. This is deeply grooved in texture, and it's got a little bit of color gradient because of the complexity of it. We also have rose gold indices, quarter Roman numerals radially arrayed, and then good attention to detail, Chopard. We have a blue date disc with white on blue. Take a look at the watch in the dark. No shortage of lume. Comprehensively luminescent, as you could see. And then I like the fact that there's not a whole lot of printing here. Chopard chronometer, Swiss made. And indeed, it is a chronometer, COSC certified. We also have a couple of other setting modes here. What's a chronometer without a hacking seconds function to allow you to quickly and easily set it against a reference time. And by the way, the setting action here, outstanding. I have to apply real force to move the crown at all, and there's hardly any dead angle. As I even apply a little bit of finger pressure on the crown, the minute's hand moves. Really nice, very precise setting system. I've got a quick set for the date, so I can rapidly cycle the date should I desire to do so. COSC certified, this movement is a chronometer. Caliber 0101C, C for chronomet. You can see it, it's a manufacturer movement from Chopard, 60 hours of power reserve, 4 hertz beat rate, 5 position adjusted, pivots on 31 joules, and although the finishing is mostly mechanically applied, it's handsomely done with a couple of specific decisions made to improve the aesthetics, including the use of snailing across the bridges rather than conventional Côte de Genève, and the beveling, which is probably started mechanically but finished by more manual means. It is quite respectable. It's difficult for me to show you given the limited angles of a watch on a bracelet underneath my camera, but it's very nicely done. We have satination on the barrel, satination on the wheels, we have black polished screw heads, polished pegs to help locate the bridges, and then engine turning on the base plate. It's really very credible, one of the in-house Chopard calibers. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.